In support of the advertisements I have running for this catamaran, I'm going to do a overview video and some detailed close-ups of parts of the boat. I'm just going to do a walk around here first. This is the 10-to-1 Cunningham system. What makes this one unique is I have a piece of Dyneema that anchors the base transfer block to the bottom of the mast using a shackle. So when removing the mast, you simply remove this shackle and these pins on these Hey Dino! On these cleats here. And so the cleats and the transfer block all come off as one piece. That way, even though we have a continuous Cunningham that goes through the crossbeam, we don't have to unsplice the Cunningham in order to remove the mast. On the mast rotation setting, we have these kite blocks. These kite blocks are great. They're low friction. The normal Nacra sprung, actually it's not a sprung. It's a small turning block that attaches here. Will very often jam, making it difficult to recenter or reset the mast rotation for upwind. And so we use two kite blocks. There's one here and there's one here, and they're low friction, and the system works really well. See, it all flows out freely, and then when you go around the leeward mark, you pull this, it resets, and now your mast rotation is back to the upwind setting. And the upwind setting is able to be set from the trapeze. So that's this cam cleat right here. And so if you pull this line, it will act to center the mast rotation. I'm going to reset here and I'll show you what I mean. So the rotation of the mast here is set for roughly an upwind position. If you wanted to depower a little, you might pull this thing in, and you can see I'm pulling on that. It sets the cleat. And then when you go downwind, you want your mast rotated all the way out. And so you release this cleat right here, and your mast is free to do that. When you go around the weather mark or the leeward mark, and you pull this back in. So that's that. Another nice feature installed by Pegasus is the jib sheet. So there's your jib jam cleat, swivel cleat. And it goes to a turning block right here, so you can grab it from the wire, either along this. There's another turning block here. This then goes under the trampoline into a gobbler system. And this purple line right here goes out to your jib luff. That's your jib luff tension. This T-handle here goes to the other side of the boat, to the port side. I'm on the starboard side now. Goes to the port side and is used to lift the dagger board on the port side. And this T-handle over here on the port side does the same thing. It lifts the dagger board on the starboard side. This T-handle is used to pull the dagger, the starboard dagger back down when rounding the leeward mark to head upwind. This makes so the crew does not have to go to the leeward side of the boat in order to drop that board. The means of attaching the pull down system is through this sister clip. There is a mating sister clip on the top of the starboard dagger board, and so this goes up, and then when you pull that T-handle on the other side, it pulls the board down. This is the normal Harken I think it's a 10 to 1. I forget. The Cunningham is 10 to 1. I think this is a 12 to 1 system. And it has the snack shackle up top. Sort of normal fare for a beach cat. And this is the Traveler system. This Traveler rail looks rough, but it works fine. I've seen a lot of different methods for deploy and douse of spinnaker. This is your dowsing line, and this is your deploy up through that upper turning block and cam cleat. There's your turning block down there, and then this piece of reinforced Tygon tubing. It's I believe it's anchored on the right, and then it's anchored here on the left, and then you pull the right hand side to pop the tack line out of a block, and then that allows you to complete your retrieval. So the retrieval process is you uncleat the halyard there on that cam cleat. You then pull the retrieval line. The spinnaker will go about 2/3 of the way down, and then it will stop because the tack line is still out. So the tack of the spinnaker is still at the end of the spinnaker pole. So when you pull on this, it pops the tack line out of a cam cleat that's being held right about here, and then that allows you to then complete the dowsing process. I think this is a pretty normal way to go. I've seen other ways, continuous, and I think they're more complex. This is a little simpler. For tack deploy, this is your 2 to 1. You pull this handle, and then that pulls your tack line out, the tack of the spinnaker out. This line tends to twist and jam, so we have a swivel bearing to prevent that line twist from gumming up the tack or the spinnaker tack. This is the Barefoot Studios SNU. It's the normal horn that I think Dennis Key designed, and it works very well. It's pretty problem-free. The spinnaker cover that Dennis supplied is not quite long enough, and so we have a little bit of sun damage here on the back of the snuffer tube. The jib halyard system on this boat is the normal Nacra thin line that goes up through the luff pocket of the jib, goes around a turning block, and then, due to this design, it hooks into a ring that's on the top side, and then you have to use a little bit of English to get it to unhook, to get the jib down. What I think this prevents is the stretching that would happen of a luff halyard that would go from here through a turning block. Very often they'll go to the port, a turning block on the port bow, go back here and go through a cam cleat, and that's a bunch of line, and it tends to stretch. So this method hooks the jib firmly at a hook connected to the forestay, and therefore there's no additional line to stretch. The downside is that it takes a little bit, it's a little tricky to get the jib up and down. I've never had a problem where I've had to flip the boat to get the jib down, but I've always imagined that might happen someday. Going back to the spinnaker system, we have these turning blocks. This is I don't know if I can get it to clutch. Yeah, it's clutching right now. So that's the normal ratcheting Harken turning block, 50 millimeter, I believe. And then the secondary turning block just to give you a better angle across the deck. I think that's what that design's for. I've never really known. And then this piece of shock cord keeps these aligned, keeps them from going over here and getting tangled in the jib. It's just a more tidy way to go on managing those two blocks. All 4 trapeze lines have these